Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey y'all, this is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends! Welcome to another episode of Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
And Nash is back.
Yep. I am back, ready to rock and roll.
Now, we told you he went to Alaska. I'm not sure where we got that. He went to Canada.
Yeah, Vancouver. Yep.
Vancouver. But I swear you told us you went to Alaska.
Right.
Yeah.
Or no, you were going to Alaska.
Yeah, I had to go to a bit of Alaska to get to where I wanted to go in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
the layover, there was a bit of a layover. Yeah.
Well, somehow,
They're not even close.
They're right. But where we were in, it was a shorter trip to Sitka, Alaska,
Okay.
as it was then compared to where we went to Port Hardy in Vancouver.
Okay. Normally you land in Seattle and just walk.
Yeah. Well, I didn't land in Seattle. I came home from Seattle, but no, I went from Chicago to Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah. And then from Vancouver, I ended up some little teeny tiny airport flying on a Buddy Holly plane where I was,
Whoa.
gripping the side of the seat going like, oh my God.
Right.
How much duct tape is holding this plane together before I landed in Port Hardy.
The past 3 episodes you missed because you've been training for strongman, you were fishing. We talked about aliens.
I know.
Oh,
I
aliens.
know.
All aliens all the time.
I know. I missed it. I missed the sweet spot. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like your favorite thing. We intentionally did that.
Thank you.
No, I'm kidding. But for all the listeners, again, welcome back. I'm glad nothing bad happened in Canada. You caught a lot of fish, and you did not run into a grizzly bear.
No bears. No bears at all. I was actually hoping to see some bears. We saw whales, eagles. We actually had some interactions with eagles, which was really, really cool. A lot of otters, some porpoise.
Some porpoise?
Porpoise. Yeah, they call them blackfish up there, but they're actually not. They're dolphins, but they're not. So they're porpoise.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they do things on porpoise.
I know I'll be leaving here. We're actually in Nash's with a bunch of salmon. So hey, your trip worked out for us too.
Yeah, delicious. What I've discovered is one of those fillets that I showed you is a perfect size serving for me. Just
perfect.
one.
That
A
giant
one-
fillet, which is a one
Yeah.
server.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When you buy at the store, that's probably like 3 or 4 or 5 fillets, something like that. Perfect size for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to not do aliens.
Boo.
We're going to talk about a haunted restaurant that's up in
Vancouver,
Canada. Yes.
Yep.
Trying to theme it to your trip.
And Vancouver is a cool, super cool place.
Oh, do you remember the? I was going to say hotel for some reason, just so you would say the word. Remember last time we talked about something in Canada? Remember the name of that hotel?
No,
Yes, you do.
I don't. Oh, what?
Starts
Come
with a
on.
B.
Banff?
Yes.
Banff.
There you go.
Banff.
Everybody likes when Nash says Banff.
Banff.
He's trying to walk him into that.
Yeah.
You had to drag me into it. It took me a little bit. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the old spaghetti factory up in Canada. And it's apparently wicked haunted.
Yes. And Vancouver's a cool place. And we'll get into it a little bit in the show. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you want to tell us about Canada a little later?
No. About the relevance of the old spaghetti factory in Vancouver.
Okay.
All right.
Alicia, go.
Oh, okay. So this is from matadornetwork.com. The Old Spaghetti Factory in Vancouver is rumored to be the most haunted restaurant in the city. The restaurant has been serving up pasta, good times, and according to some employees, ghost sightings since 1970. So the old spaghetti factory, it opened its doors in March.
So no ghosts before the 70s?
No, and I feel like there is a reason why. But
Okay, cool.
It opened its doors in March of 1970 in a building that has been around since the early 1900s.
The second oldest building in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's the second oldest one.
Which that blows my mind. Like how
Right.
Vancouver was older than that.
Well, the building was super old. We don't know when the building was built.
1904.
It was like early 1900s.
Yeah,
so-
1904 was when it opened, and it's the second oldest building in Vancouver. So either I don't know my history of Vancouver. Did something happen where half the city burned down or something? Or
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There was a
Wow.
fire. Actually,
There you
they call it the Great Fire, 1886. So that could answer all your questions.
right,
there.
probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was called the Great Vancouver Fire. I
Fire.
guess. Since we started on it,
So imaginative.
Wow.
so yeah, a city of about 1,000 wooden buildings were destroyed in less than 45 minutes.
Wow.
Some say as little as 20. And eyewitness, I guess probably from a news report, said Vancouver didn't burn. It exploded.
Oh.
Wow. So that could be why this is one of the oldest buildings, because the other ones
Right.
were wiped out.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because the way the Vancouver is laid out, it has like 3 different downtown areas with high rises and whatnot. So that just makes you want to find out what section it is.
Right.
Because back in the day, I'm assuming back in the day, everything is in this little teeny tiny valley. So I would imagine if there's a fire, that whole surrounding area would just, it's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why there's the 3 separate parts. Yeah, I
Wow.
don't know.
So the area that the restaurant is in, it's known as Gastown. And
Sorry.
the building started out as a wholesale grocery that was run and owned by William Malkin. I guess at one point he was like the mayor, I think,
right.
of the town or whatever. But apparently his spirit also haunts the area as well.
Well,
So
I saw that, and it seemed to me the way it read was like not necessarily that it was haunted, but it was like the spirit of William's drive for entrepreneurship. And
it haunts the area.
yeah, it haunts the area. It's just permeable in everything in that area.
I came across something. I couldn't find anything deeper that the spirit was haunted, and there's a reason a lot of ghosts, because there's people that had problems with this guy.
Oh.
So there was supposed to be maybe some murders. Maybe he made some
shady
opponents
deals.
disappear. But I couldn't find anything to back that up.
Yeah.
So I just found one article that mentioned it. I couldn't find any truth to it.
I found similar, but on the opposite flip side of that argument, that he was very beloved as the mayor and everything, but it was during the Great Depression, and Vancouver was basically like the doldrums of society at that point, because nobody had work and everybody was just doing their own thing. So there was rampant crime and murders and things like that. But it wasn't his fault. He was doing the best that he could, and he was well loved for what he was trying to do at the time.
Interesting.
See, this is why speculation.
Right.
You don't get the facts.
I imagine that.
Well, I'm not saying I have the facts. It's just-
I don't
that's
have
what I heard.
I was just saying, I don't have facts.
I was going to say that maybe back in the day, I would imagine that Vancouver was mostly logging, hunting, and trapping. There wasn't
Yep.
a lot of exports coming out of Vancouver except for woods, and animals. That's a lot of what's up there. So maybe that he was the guy who connected the dots and put it together, and maybe he had to off a few people in the sawmills. You know what I'm saying?
Again,
you never know.
We don't have any proof.
No proof, no
that?
proof. But I know that every major political figure, who's well loved, maybe they have a few skeletons
But
in the
I
closet.
do have
John Dutton.
proof that Alicia would like to continue.
She's like, Nash is back, and it was so nice that he was gone.
So Gastown is the original settlement that became the core of the city of Vancouver. Gastown was named for Gassy Jack Dayton.
That's right.
He was a Yorkshire seaman.
What?
I knew you were gonna. Okay.
See,
Steamboat.
no one did anything. I don't know
Yeah.
what did you think we were going to do.
Well, he worked
Because
on,
of the word semen?
He worked on the sea. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He was a steamboat captain and also a barkeep.
Okay.
He arrived in 1867 and opened the area's first saloon.
Nice.
Jack was famous for a habit of talking at length or gassing. So the area around his saloon became known as Gassie's Town. And then, of course, the nickname, it morphed into Gas Town.
Well, at least they didn't go with the semen part.
Right.
Who knows what the town would be called?
So by that rationale, we would all be gassy.
Yes.
Well,
Because we all like to talk, and we do podcasts where we talk. So
Well,
we're all a little bit gassy.
Fact, you are. Cassie, so yes.
Yeah, every once in a while, I enjoy good flatulence.
oh boy.
Interesting word for being loquacious.
Yeah,
is
I know.
gassy.
Yeah.
Right. Top and bottom, either way.
Right.
Well, I thought you were looking at me, Dave, because, I just dropped an SAT word on you.
So
Anyway,
anyway, the old spaghetti factory is known to have vintage decor as well as an old trolley car, number 53, that was placed inside around the time of its opening.
trolley car.
The trolley has several tables and chairs inside where guests can dine in, and is also a fun place for tourists to come in and take pictures.
For gas to dine in?
Guests.
Guess.
I
Yes.
swear I heard gas.
You're really focusing on that gas part.
I
Right?
know.
I'll give you some later. Don't worry.
That doesn't sound good at all.
No.
Now, the trolley car was originally built in 1904 and was a streetcar that served the people of
Named
Vancouver.
Desire?
So wait, the trolley was built in 1904. I'm ignoring what Mark said, but you said it was founded in 1907. Back in your earlier thing, you said that when Vancouver started, it started in 19. Was it? You said? Did you say 07?
No.
When the building was originally built.
Yeah. When was the building originally put
it's the
together?
second-
It was
oldest-
early 1900s.
Yeah, it was.
I don't have the date.
I'm just thinking that the trolley car was older than the Vancouver, the settlement before the whole thing happened.
No, you heard the saloon was 1860s, so Vancouver was
right.
definitely older.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what I was
fire-
thinking.
Going back to
definitely.
the fire. You remember that in the beginning of the show?
Maybe that's what the date was. That was throwing me off. I'm a little confused.
Anyway,
It's okay.
yeah.
Right.
So the trolley,
rusty, bro.
it's
I
part of the decor
Yep.
inside the building, and I just wanted to bring it up, like some history behind it, because
It's
part of possibly why it's haunted.
Yep.
So there are apparently 4 resident ghosts that are in the old spaghetti factory. The first one is the Tram Conductor. So there is a ghost that many believe is the Tram Conductor from the number 53 trolley car, which is in the building.
right.
It is presumed that he died in an underground collision that happened below the restaurant. But
That
that's
sucks.
unlikely. Well, it's unlikely because trolley cars in Vancouver ran at street level. They weren't like underground, so I'm not really sure. It might just be like a fun,
Urban legend.
urban legend or something. But he didn't start appearing until after the tram was installed in the
wait,
restaurant.
interject.
Go
So
for it.
I heard a second. So he died under the place, and this is the one I like better, is that he was actually killed in his trolley somewhere else, and that he was attached to it. So when they brought it in to the restaurant,
Like strapped to the front, like Spider-Man.
I don't know, but in any case, it wasn't about the location; it's that the trolley
tram,
car is
yeah.
his.
That is interesting
Yeah.
because
What
I
his
have
spirit
another
is-
ghost that they say came in with an artifact.
Okay,
So we'll get there. But
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Like
Yep.
his spirit is infused in the trolley car itself.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that.
So many staffers have spotted him in full uniform inside the tram after hours, seated at the same table. Place settings are also moved, and cold spots are felt, so they basically attribute it to him. But I have a quote from a guy that had an experience, or he was detailing an experience, but We had 2 ladies come in for lunch. They asked to speak with the manager as they wanted to know about the entities as they could communicate with them. Skeptical and not wanting to share.
I'd like to speak to your manager.
Right. Skeptical and not wanting to share.
Sorry to any Karen listeners. My bad.
And Delish.
And
Yeah.
even though we're in my house, Alicia's still going to
Sorry,
smack
I
you.
lost my place.
Yeah.
All right. Skeptical and not wanting to share, I asked what they saw. They described the boy in blue I told you about, and it wasn't the... We'll talk about the boy.
Yeah.
In a little bit, but it wasn't that entity that they wanted to talk about. It was the other in the train. They said he was mad at me because I wouldn't put up his picture. This made no sense to me, and they said it would be easier to explain if I took them to the manager's office where the picture was being kept. To appease them, I agreed. We walked in, and the lady immediately looked way up, pointed at a single picture. And it was of the train's conductor. And she said, "That's him there." The woman laughed at me and said he wants it hanging in the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
There is no way anyone knows about that picture. Our owner had found it and hung it up after we moved offices. Definitely not the 2 ladies. So I guess this guy, he was pissed that his picture was just hiding in a room. He wanted it out in the restaurant.
Yeah.
But
even the manager didn't know about this picture.
Right.
He didn't know it was there. It was hidden to him.
Right.
And they pointed it out. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And
Was there any information about, were they any type of psychic or medium that they would be able to?
they
have
were
any
mediums.
communication?
yeah, I think
Okay.
they could communicate or felt certain things.
Yeah.
So you answered the second. I had a question on the rest of his story because what I had found was that he was upset because he wanted his picture removed from the office.
Oh, see, I found a story about that too, and
Yeah.
I think that it was written weirdly or like they miswrote something
Right.
because everything else was about that he wanted his picture
wanted it hung
out
up.
there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but
So, that would make sense because it's like what I found was said that he wanted it removed from the office because it was stuck in the office, but because he wanted it in the
he wanted
restaurant.
it in the restaurant.
He just didn't
yeah.
want it. I took that as he wanted it down and away and gone. But no, it was because he wanted it out in the restaurant part where people could see him.
If I understand correctly, part of the quote was that they had moved the office.
Yeah, they moved the office, so.
And that the where I guess however it happened that where the office used to be is like the kitchen or something. So it probably was hidden before.
Yes.
And that he was getting enough people seeing it or something, even though it was hidden.
Right.
And then when they moved everything, it became like
It was just a picture on the wall.
Right.
So they just
Right.
left it there.
and that's when he got mad.
Yeah. He
But
wanted
yeah.
some PR, some good PR.
Right. Yeah.
And he probably wants some good pasta. At least see the pasta. They've got good pasta there, I got to say.
Well, yeah,
Have
and
you
I
been?
think
To the one in Phoenix, yes.
Okay.
We'll come up to that later.
yeah, I think in the restaurant they have a lot of like older pictures from like probably the early 1900s or whatever. So
From when Mark was born.
Oh
Right.
my God, that's so funny.
uh-huh.
It's been a while. I had to throw
goodness.
something in there.
I know.
You know.
I'm so much older than you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so the second ghost is the Little Red Man or Looky Loo.
Yeah, I got a little information on that particular ghost. This entity is kind of, I would say, like troublemaker or mischievous. Some actually believe it's a leprechaun.
Oh,
And this is there are some people that believe this thing was attached to an artifact that they brought in to decorate the restaurant. But they describe him as having short red hair, and he likes to like peek through the door of the women's restroom, like the toilet door,
Right.
Call
Yeah.
that stall door. So I feel like the Little Red Man's also a bit of a pervert.
yeah.
It's not me, nor is he
Well,
related.
I wonder if that's why his nickname is Looky Loo.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was interested in the fact that they some people feel like he's a leprechaun.
That's really interesting. Why would they think leprechaun?
Well, I think
I'm not sure why. I couldn't
he's-
find anything else to back that up.
Does he have a green
Because-
top hat?
No, I guess these little red hair.
Maybe because of the red
Yeah,
hair.
it's
they
the
think
red
he's
hair,
Irish.
and then he's also shorter. Like he's a shorter man. But
Okay, quick aside.
yeah.
I always think of leprechauns as like tiny, you know, like 3 inches
Like the
tall.
Lucky
Seen
Charms
the
guy.
movie Leprechaun?
That's probably
no,
the
I have
biggest
not.
one that I would think of. I would think it would be smaller, like what you think on the Lucky Charms box.
Right.
Like these maybe 6 to 10 inches tall.
I was even thinking smaller than that, but
Really?
so that's why when I hear that they think he's a leprechaun, but they're seeing him standing, looking in the stall door, that doesn't make any sense
Oh, they're
to me.
sitting down, so if he's eye to eye. you
Yeah,
know.
but
Right.
still, it just
It's still like 4 feet tall.
I'm thinking like
either
this
way,
little 3
This
inch thing
entity,
walking in under the stall
has
door.
a habit of going into the women's bathroom and watch them use the facility.
so it's totally pervy.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. On one particular occasion, 2 ladies saw him leave one of the stalls. He was dressed in a red shirt and red long johns. After looking at them,
I can tell you,
Yeah.
as a ginger, you don't wear red. It just doesn't go.
Not a good color.
No, you have
Yeah, you bought a red shirt with the that brewery logo on it.
right, but I get told about how it doesn't go every time I wear it.
There are certain colors that
Right.
don't work. Yeah.
yeah, so after looking at them and laughing at them, he left through the door. Nobody else saw him leave, though. Like, nobody saw him, like, exit the bathroom. Like, he just kind of disappeared or whatever. But
He's just kind of chilling in the bathroom.
And apparently one of the women took a picture of him. But when the film was developed, he appeared kind of as a blur.
So that dates the whole thing, because if they're going to take a picture and then develop that picture, that was what, 80s and 90s before cell phones came
Probably.
out,
And
maybe
Even-
or earlier than that, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's an old picture of a pervy red-haired.
Yep.
He
Ghost.
also likes to roam the kitchen where he whispers to the staff and calls them by name. But,
Okay.
Now, that is 2 ghosts, though, that seem to have an attachment to something that was brought in
Right.
to decorate the spaghetti factory.
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
So, again, begs the question. When you go to a yard sale,
Right?
Yeah, yeah. Where are you getting
find
your
some
stuff?
old things that might look really cool.
Well, there's still so yes, I agree with what you're saying, Mark, but there's still yet a bigger question behind that one that you might not fully realize yet. But we'll get to that later.
Oh, okay, Nash.
Okay. All right. So the third ghost.
Did you just invite him in?
Oh, no.
You're in my house now.
The third ghost is a little boy. He is an 11 or 12-year-old boy named Edward, and he's been seen running around the restaurant. He is blonde with his hair parted in the middle and is wearing blue overalls.
And that's consistent across
Is it? Okay.
many people.
Yeah.
They all say he looks the same.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
independent of each other's, stories, it's always looks the same.
Right. He likes to move. I'm sorry. He's been seen bending forks and knives.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's like the Matrix,
Matrix,
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
with
they
hair.
somehow return to their shape when like the staff takes it to the manager.
Right.
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 And then he also likes to move these knives and forks around as well as unscrew light bulbs.
Because he likes watching them have to try to screw them back in.
So
How many staff does it take to screw in a light bulb?
right. Chris Newsom, he's a former employee. And this is a quote from him. We asked, "Can you swing a lamp or move some cutlery or move a chair right now to prove that you're here?"
Something.
5 seconds later, a fork lifted up off the table, swiveled around, and dropped back down onto the table. A lamp started swinging, and chairs collided. This was all visible and audible to us.
And did they record it?
No, why would they?
Why would they do that? I mean, come on. But there was an interaction with a new employee that started.
Yes. So I don't know if. Do you want to bring that up? Dave?
Right. So, well, it wasn't a new employee.
Yeah.
She had worked for 12 years.
Yeah.
And never had any problems.
Maybe it was starting of the shift then.
And then she quit on the spot as a result of her interaction with Edward. But now I've heard many different variations of the story, so I'll
Go through all of them.
Yeah. They all basically have the same story, that she was checking on the stuff either before her shift or after her shift.
Yeah, I know. I'm seeing both as well.
Yeah, but it was not during normal working hours. It
Correct.
was before or after. And in the first version of the story that I read, she came in to the trolley and found that there was a child with blonde hair under the one table, and he was just sitting there crying. And so she went to go get find somebody to help, whatever. And when she came back, he was gone. And this unnerved her enough that she quit on the spot. Okay, so nothing really outrageous in that one. So then the next version I found was that he was running around and actually ran into the kitchen, and she ran after him.
Okay.
And when she got to the kitchen, he was gone. And this freaked her out enough that she quit on the spot. The third version I found, when she went under the table, she saw him, but he had no eyes in his sockets.
So that to me is the reason for somebody quitting right on the spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the fourth version is that she actually had a conversation that she hasn't said what it was, but that whatever he said to her freaked her out and she quit on the spot.
Interesting.
Okay, so stories 3 and 4, quitting on the spot. I'm going to go with 3 to me. If I was a seasoned employee at a restaurant, having a conversation with somebody, quitting on the spot, I don't know. The first 2, whatever. You'd be like, whatever, I got to go home.
Well, I mean, you've never came across a full body apparition.
True.
Like, it could be freaky. Every single story would be freaky enough to, like, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to work here.
Yeah, but a seasoned 12-year restaurant staffer has seen a lot and is pretty seasoned to all kinds of crap that would happen in a restaurant. So the way I'm taking it, I'm going with number 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Seeing an eyeless child underneath a table
freak
and then
me
be
out
like,
too.
you know what, I'm good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I have 12 years experience. I can get a job. At
Yeah.
another place. I don't need this.
I don't need the old spaghetti factory. There's an old sandwich factory right down the street. I'm going to go down there.
Gotta start making sure the old sandwich factory doesn't have any ghosts.
Yeah.
Well, even if you worked there for 12 years and you've never experienced anything, and there's stuff going on, and all of a sudden you
Right.
experience something,
Right.
it's like, why now? I don't need this in my life. I'm gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beer for me.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. Now, the last resident ghost is a little girl, and I don't know what her name is, and I don't really know what she looks like because I couldn't really find a whole lot about her. But she appears at a table in the front window, and she's holding a balloon.
Yep.
Nobody knows who she is. And once a friend of the restaurant's general manager had a conversation with her that lasted several minutes, where the little girl said she was looking for her mother. When he returned to the table after telling the manager about her, she disappeared.
Well, at least holding the balloon, at least she didn't say, hey, we all float down here.
Right.
Because then again, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get another job.
Yeah. Maybe she's the harbinger of Pennywise. The red
Ooh.
balloon.
Yeah. Why? Or it could be Pennywise. You could shapeshift.
Right, yeah.
So half of the staff hear and see things repeatedly, and the other half never do.
Right.
So I think it's just, some people are maybe open to whatever is going on there, but
Yeah, some people, when they go to work there, sorry to cut you off there.
It's okay.
But you go to work, I would imagine that you would hear stories and be like, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Those are the people that hear it. And the other people who are completely disbelievers, open or closed to it.
There have also been multiple mediums that have come in and identified both the conductor and the little boy in the train. And I have a little story. There was a woman that was sitting with her baby in the restaurant, and this kid would not stop crying. Apparently,
Typical.
Yeah.
Damn, darn kids.
Apparently, someone commented that there was a presence standing behind where the baby was. So, mom moved her child to another seat. The crying stopped. When she moved the baby back to its original spot, it began crying again.
See, I saw that story and I thought to myself, I think there's one small loophole in the story. Okay. Is that what they didn't realize is in the first spot where the baby started crying, in that seat that was there, it was filled with thumbtacks.
Oh, jeez.
So they were sitting their baby on a seat of thumbtacks. So when they pulled the baby out and put it on a different seat, it stopped crying. And then when they put the baby back, of course, on thumbtacks, the baby started crying again.
Did you make that up, or did you?
We'll never know, Mark. We'll never know.
Not to
Show's never been based on facts, I guess. So I guess we'll never know.
All I know is I've had a couple of beers and I'm feeling pretty good. So
not to take the air out of your diaper, but the
Is it a thumbtack joke?
we're in Gastown, so it refills.
depending on what year this happened, I heard the story, but I didn't see any years.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen kids' diapers nowadays? They are freaking thick. Like
They're super thick.
there's no way a thumbtack is getting through that and causing the kid any problems.
Hey, welcome to the diaper punchers.
So you're
We're gonna
opening
talk
a
about.
whole new thing. But yes, yeah, they are. They're super thick.
Right? It would have to be nails.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But
Are
getting nails.
are you actually trying to punch holes in his story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow, with nails instead of thumbtacks.
Right.
So we're just gonna like skip right over. I'm thinking about editing it out, so you don't need to like justify it.
Right.
They do. Diapers are quite thick. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Hey, just want everybody to know. Sometimes on this show, you learn something.
Yeah, you learn something new every time you listen.
You know what? To cleanse the palate,
Right.
Why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back with more about this haunted hotel, some other fun facts.
Wait.
and-
On the hotel?
No, why did I call it a hotel?
I don't know.
This restaurant. We'll be right back.
Bamf.
Bamf.
And we're back. The Old Spaghetti Factory Restaurant
Not.
in Vancouver.
Yeah, not a hotel.
Not hotel. Not hotel. All right, I know we have some more information because I would like to bring up there's a vortex.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of cut off Alicia on this whole thing.
I just
That's
said,
okay.
Yeah,
kick it
yeah.
back over.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just have, why it could be haunted.
Okay.
So a visiting psychic confirmed that there were spirits here and that the activity stems from the presence of historical artifacts that they are attached to in the building,
Right.
as well as a vortex that is found at the back of the restaurant.
Yeah, they had I guess a couple mediums came there. So there's a vortex in the back that's allowing spirits just to traverse over and hang out at the Old Spaghetti Factory.
Would it be a cheat if a medium who wore nothing but 2XLs would be called a medium? I think it's a cheat, quite honestly.
Did you hear that?
Dead silence.
Right.
Yeah.
Dead.
Okay.
Almost, they're not even crickets involved.
No.
Yeah.
You killed the crickets too.
I did. Yeah.
This is the sound of your AC unit. That was it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. It's a dehumidifier, actually.
Now,
okay. Yeah.
also, Gastown, this area, and the area that the restaurant was built on was never ceded or signed over by the Coast Salish peoples, which are the indigenous peoples in that area. But so I was thinking maybe there's some hard feelings, and that could be why it's sort of haunted. But
Or it's that vortex.
yeah, it could be the vortex.
Goes from Florida. They're using the vortex to come over, hang out. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, maybe that's part of the, signing it over. They close the vortexes before they leave. Here, well, it was left open, and
Yeah.
they're like, well, they're going to have to deal with it. They didn't follow proper procedure.
I don't know, Dave.
Now,
Now, Nash.
yes.
Okay. All right, you got some spaghetti knowledge.
Yeah, I got some spaghetti factoids. So the Old Spaghetti Factory is a chain.
Yes.
It's not just one specific
Franchise.
restaurant. It's a franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a couple other locations that I found. Now, I don't know how many old spaghetti factories there are in the U.S.
See, I actually didn't realize it was in the U.S. When I was looking it up, I only found that
A couple of them.
that there was a
like,
franchise in Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't find any U.S. locations, but
Yeah, but I know that there's one in Phoenix for a fact, and I know that there's one in California. Now, the location of California is located in Duarte, California, but if Duarte is in San Diego, I'm not 100% sure.
I found the news report of Old Spaghetti Factory in San Diego because an employee killed another employee and put her in a suitcase.
Oh, God.
As they do. Yeah. Why not?
So I think, are you leading that a lot of old spaghetti factories have some messed up history?
There's a couple of them. The two that I found have some also hauntings, also based in that the hauntings are based in old school artifacts, having a lot to do with their trolleys and some of the artifacts that they have. The Phoenix location, which I've actually dined in. Now, I didn't know when I was a wee lad dining in the old spaghetti. Yeah, that's it. Say
Spaghetti.
that 5 times fast after
The old
having a few
Spaghetti
beers.
Factory.
Good luck. That it was haunted, but the Phoenix location has had multiple homicides. This was before the Spaghetti Factory owned the building anyway. This was in the building before. So in the 30s, there was a elderly
Whoa.
Yeah.
Reset.
elderly. Oh my.
LD.
Yeah.
You got this, Nash.
There was a resident who was a little bit up there in age.
Elderly.
Thank you. Yeah. Who was sleeping and was murdered. And a woman was murdered in the basement in the 1930s in the same building. Now, this is way before the Spaghetti Factory took it over. But the reports that the Spaghetti Factory has a couple of ghosts there, where there's reports of women's or sound of a woman sobbing, whispers and screams happening in there. Again, furniture moving, cutlery moving, light bulbs coming unscrewed, blinking, plates flying across. Yeah, all kinds of craziness.
But it's like Edward is jumping.
Yeah.
I know.
And they can also find a child on a bicycle with an old bell riding through the restaurant, and a mom who's
That's not creepy at all.
yeah, and a mom who sits there and watches the child to make sure that the child is safe. Okay, so then let's take a little jump over to California. Now in California, in Duarte, California, I think that's a wonderful sounding word. You can hear the sounds of children playing. Now, this place used to be a school 100 years ago. Allegedly, where the principal of that school hung himself.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
And the spirit was infused into, I don't know if it was in the building or in the restaurant. I'm not 100% sure. But again, plates and chairs can move on their own. There's a piano there, I guess, in the restaurant that has been heard playing without people sitting in it. People get the chills and feel lightheaded in the bathroom. Hey, you know what? I do that whenever I have a good bathroom experience anyway. So I'm just saying.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's a good time. You know.
Wait, no, why would I imagine that?
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything about
Yeah. So, but one of the things that got me thinking about this place is that the founder of the old Spaghetti Factory, okay, Gus Dussin, who founded this in 1970, he found these old school artifacts, okay? So in the trolley car that's in every location has a trolley car in it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The trolley car in the Phoenix location was a trolley car from, I think, 1905, 1904, kind of in that range. So he finds all these trolley cars. it was kind of hard to like, okay, so what's the connection between Gus Doosan creating these restaurants, finding these trolley cars, and vortexes associated with the trolley cars that is bringing out the ghosts that are currently in the building?
Are you trying to say that the vortexes link up? They can travel between old spaghetti factories?
No. That
Okay.
maybe
'Cause
Gus.
I like that idea too.
That maybe Gus Doosan is a little bit more than a franchise owner who finds these old school trolley cars. Maybe Gus is somebody who's maybe attuned to finding these artifacts, and then putting them in his restaurants.
Or he's oblivious. And
That'd be
grabbing things that have like a history. They look cool. That's all he sees. And there's attachments.
Or he could be like a Seventh Circle of Hell warlock who is attaching vortices to these.
And this is the part of the movie where we start mapping out
Yes.
old spaghetti factories.
Yes,
and we
with the
realize
red-
it
with
makes
the
a
red
pentagram.
yarn
Right.
on the map.
It's
Yes.
a mystery solved.
Yeah, with like Aleister Crowley.
I can't think of the character's name, but this sounds like the guy that designed the skyscraper in
Ghostbusters, yes, kind of the same thing.
Yes.
He was a high level, like, yes, he was into the occult, the whole 9 yards, and on the side, but he had some business sense and he knew about.
Well, no, you're making this part out right. He wasn't into the occult.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Just make sure.
But I know that multiple areas of multiple restaurants of his, all from a similar
hauntings.
source, have similar hauntings, but they were, and each location has these trolley cars. I don't know. I'm just trying to. I'm connecting these dots without wanting to connect these dots.
Dude, I'm totally going to bring it up on Google Maps to see if I can draw a line.
Right?
Oh,
And if
God.
That's
it
what I'm
makes a
saying.
pentagram,
Right.
There's a lot of evidence to that circumstantial at best, to say that question mark Gus Doosan.
Ivo Shandor. Ivo Shandor. It's the architect from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, kind of something similar to that. Are there multiple locations that this dude finds cursed trolley cars, and they can kind of create a vortices of negative energy in there to trap these ghosts in all of these restaurants?
Well, take it a step further. Maybe he can't find cursed trolley cars, so he makes cursed.
That's what I'm saying. I know, right? That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Dave. Yes.
Just
thank
out of
you,
curiosity, do you know if he or his estate is still around?
I don't know.
This is the part where we get sued for.
Right.
For slander and libel and all that stuff, but on a podcast, you're not bound by the FCC.
right?
It's
the
fine.
Wild West when it comes
That's
to
right.
podcast.
That's right. But most of the
No, we're totally kidding.
And we're actually not insinuating.
Everything we're talking about is not in movies. What do they say? It's not based on any living or dead person. It's
Yeah.
pure fiction.
Right.
right.
Do not. So
But most of the spaghetti, right? The spaghetti factories.
Any resemblance to any person, real or alive or dead, is purely coincidence.
right.
Okay.
There we
So-
go. Now there's our disclaimer.
So the spaghetti factory in Vancouver, when was that founded? When did they make that restaurant?
It was 72, I thought.
Yeah, 1970.
So
So like one of the first
Gus
ones.
Doosan founded the Old Spaghetti Factory Corporation, that whole thing, in 1969. So most of the spaghetti factories were built around that same time. I'm just saying there could be a connection there. My gut says, "Oh, follow it," but I don't want to get sued. And
Well, no, I mean it was Dave brought up getting sued.
that's right.
He
It's
totally
all
said-
Dave's fault,
totally
really.
Ruin your happiness.
Yeah. So I just say that he founded it. He was a founder of the Old Spaghetti Factory, like corporation, whatnot, in 69. And in 70, 71, 72, how many of those locations went up, and how many of those corporations had trolley cars? How many of those locations had hauntings associated with the building, focused using the trolley car as a vortex to be able to keep them there?
I don't know.
Was he a master warlock doing kind of shady shit? It was the Aleister
Again,
Crowley
if,
type stuff, you know?
His family's still alive. They might not like that.
That's okay. They're not listening.
It's been 54 years since he founded this. So another 14 years.
He could be long dead.
15 years, it'll be 69 years. And that's when it's going to pop and
I'm telling you.
lead us to the
I'm telling you.
next level event.
So in the Vancouver location,
69 years?
Well, he founded it in 69, so he must like 69.
Okay.
Because it's right on, he was into it. Yeah, and at every one of those locations there's a trolley car, and somewhere near that trolley car there's a thinning of the pudding skin, right? And that's
Don't point at me and say
but right. Pointing at Mark. And that's keeping the people from the ghosts there from moving on, and they're binding them to that location.
I do find it interesting that the vortex is an exit only through the pudding skin. There's no taking things back through.
Well, I looked up.
How do you know it's an exit only?
Well, has anybody traveled from old spaghetti factory into another realm?
You were saying that I would agree with you, Mark.
Right.
Dave, whatever. Who are you?
Whoa. Wow. Years you've had, bro.
Wow. But yes, I agree with you 100%. So it's like something is then I started looking up vortexes and what creates a vortex, and it's just a focusing of energy to thin the pudding skin between our reality and the next.
Okay.
So is it keeping them there? I didn't want to go into a whole thing about finding out what a vortex actually is and the functionality of what it does, but more than what we already had talked about. But I'm just thinking that
Much
I
better
didn't
just
want
to
to
prognosticate.
actually look into.
I didn't want to look into it.
What
I was really going off the radar with this whole, this Deucin guy,
Right.
But I'm thinking maybe that is locking them in place. I don't know.
Yeah.
Liz, do you have anything else about the old spaghetti factory
No.
in Canada?
In
No.
Vancouver,
No,
Canada.
I was just sitting back listening to what was happening. So,
Rambling on.
yeah.
Watching the train wreck.
Yep.
I just think that my giant map has
tram
got
wreck.
pins with red yarn going from one pin to another pin to another pin. It doesn't create there's only 3 points on that, so
Okay.
yeah.
Well, obviously, all that was just what we call theories?
Right.
Yes.
Insane, crazy theories.
Wow, that's hardcore. But
Ramblings of a
Ramblings.
madman.
But it's always fun. It's always fun. It's always fun to kick around crazy ideas. I really like the concept of old spaghetti factories as a vortex, and these ghosts can travel and haunt any old spaghetti factory they feel like.
Right.
That's kind
Right. Well, it sounds like
of cool.
Edward, the little boy.
could have been a school kid from the San Diego location. Right.
He just likes Vancouver.
And he just
Well,
Vancouver's a
he
cool place.
is also apparently seen. What was the one in Phoenix?
Riding his bike around with his mom watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Maybe
where's
that's
the-
him getting away from his mom for a little while, doing some tomfoolery.
Yeah.
And then he's got to go back to San Diego because his mom's going to find out. And, she's going to be
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna put a cap on that.
We're going to put a pin on the map
Okay.
with some red yarn.
No movie to pair with that. I'm sure that's okay. If we could find a movie that would pair with that, that'd be one crazy movie.
Yeah.
Maybe we are supposed to make.
Haunting
Right,
in
yes.
a restaurant.
That movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we could go have spaghetti somewhere.
We could just do that. Speaking of movies, we just dropped a short documentary about the world's strongest bro. Go to darkmave.com. Nash is in it.
I am.
Yep.
I am.
Dave helped make it.
Yeah.
He's in it. If you see some of the background shots,
Yeah.
you see Dave.
If
He has
you
no
see-
speaking part.
You see a
Well, it's a
svelte,
documentary.
a svelte ginger in the
Yeah.
background as the camera turns.
Right.
And actually, sometimes I'm
Yeah.
in the
Sometimes you're in
background,
the
too.
background.
Yeah. Alicia's in it too.
And we had a lot of fun making it. Check it out, darkmave.com. You also find our short comedy, The Quest for Karma, which just played at the Gen Con Film Festival,
Yep.
which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check that out. We got more stuff we're working on.
Yep.
Is that it? What else? ParanormalPunchers.com. You'll find everything about us.
Send us your
ways to
questions,
contact
your
us.
experiences.
Yeah.
You know, anything that you have, send it to us. This is a safe place
Yep.
for everybody to read your emails and talk about them online.
Safe space.
Yeah.
Join us on our safe
I
place.
feel like that should be a code on our
Yeah,
website.
exactly.
Yes, use code safe
It's a
place.
safe place
safe
in
place.
quotations hyphen Nash.
Well, I'm glad you made it back from Canada safe and sound.
Yeah.
I really wish you would have fought a grizzly. That would have been a way cool story.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
You wouldn't have won. But we would have had a way
No.
cool story
No.
to tell everybody.
I did discover that otters are huge in real life. They're much bigger than you think.
And I watched this thing on the news. They're kind of jerks, right?
They are.
Yeah.
And if you get like 6 or 8 of them floating in the water, they create like a little flotilla, and they don't give a rat's rear if you're going to run over them with your boat. They're not going to move. It's your job to move around.
Yeah, I
now.
saw one take a surfboard
Yeah.
from a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude had to bail. Like they wanted it, and
They're-
it claimed it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're about as big as probably a smaller seal. Those guys are jerks too. Mm-hmm. They all eat your fish when they're on the line. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you go. See? You do learn something on this show.
Otters are assholes.
Until next time, everybody, remember, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.